Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that might sting a little. Being broke is a choice. Yeah, I said it. And the longer you lie to yourself about why you're not where you want to be financially, the longer you stay there. People think being broke is about not having enough money. It's not. That's just a symptom. The real issue is the mindset, the beliefs, habits, and self-concept that created the condition of being broke in the first place. Let me tell you something. Most people will never say out loud, broke is a mental prison that looks like freedom from the outside. It's choosing what feels good now while ignoring what it costs you long term. Now, people walk around saying, I'm broke, like it's a badge of honesty. No, it's a declaration of identity. And what you declare, you reinforce. Every time you speak it, you strengthen it. You begin to expect it. And before long, your subconscious makes sure your reality matches your words. Being broke is not the absence of money, it's the presence of poverty thinking. It's the inner programming that whispers, this is just how life is. Or people like me don't get rich. Or money's not that important. Listen, if you believe money isn't important, you'll always sabotage the chance to have it. You'll say yes to every distraction, every unnecessary purchase, every emotional expense that gives a hit of dopamine while robbing you of your future. That's broke thinking. You want to know how to spot someone with a broke mindset? Simple. They look at money as a tool to escape, not to build. They use money to buy temporary feelings, clothes, entertainment, gadgets, anything that numbs the pain of not growing. They won't invest in a course. They won't hire a mentor, but they'll spend $200, 0 cents on a Friday night that doesn't improve their Saturday morning. That's not a money problem. That's a mindset problem. And here's the hard truth. If you gave a person with a broke mindset $100,000, 0 cents today, they'd be broke again in 12 months. Why? Because the money will always shrink to match the identity. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. That's why lottery winners go bankrupt. That's why athletes blow millions. They had a rich opportunity, but a broke mindset, and the mindset won. This is why real wealth starts inside. Until you change how you see money, how you value yourself, and what you believe is possible for you, nothing outside you will change. You can switch jobs, move cities, start businesses, but if your thinking doesn't evolve, you'll recreate the same broke results in different packaging. And let me be clear. This isn't about blaming poor people. It's about exposing the fact that the system teaches broke thinking. The school system doesn't teach wealth, it teaches compliance. Your environment normalizes struggle. Your culture might glorify hustle and grind, but demonize profit and abundance. You weren't trained to think like a producer, you were trained to stay broke and grateful. But here's the good news. Mindsets can change. And once your mindset changes, everything else follows. Your actions shift, your circle shifts, your opportunities multiply. The moment you decide that being broke is no longer acceptable, and you get obsessed with becoming the kind of person who attracts, manages, and multiplies wealth, the entire game changes. Money doesn't change people, it reveals them. And if you want more money, you need to become a person that money is safe with, a person who stewards it, multiplies it, respects it. You can't have a poverty mind and expect prosperity results. The mindset must shift before the money shows up. So remember this, you don't have to stay broke, but you do have to change. And that starts in your mind long before it hits your bank account. Most people will spend their entire lives trading time for money and never question it. They'll wake up, go to a job, clock in, clock out, and come home drained, and then do it again the next day for 40 years. Why? Because they've been programmed to believe that's the only way. But let me tell you something uncomfortable. If your income is tied to your time, you are not free. You're just temporarily employed. Trading time for money is the slowest, most limited way to earn income. You only have 24 hours in a day. Even if you're the hardest working person alive, there's a cap. Eventually, you will run out of energy, out of hours, and out of time. Meanwhile, the wealthy don't play that game. They build systems, they create assets, they design income streams that work even when they don't. The employee mindset says, if I work more hours, I'll make more money. The wealthy mindset says, if I create more value, I'll make more money, and I don't have to be present every hour to do it. That's the difference. One person's working in the machine, the other is building the machine. Let's go deeper. Why do so many people stay stuck in this time for money trap? Because it's familiar. Because it feels safe. Because someone told them that a paycheck is security. But there's no security in being replaceable. There's no freedom in needing permission to take a vacation or see your kids or recover from burnout. There's no leverage in an income that stops the moment you do. People don't just trade time for money. They trade their potential for a paycheck. They silence their dreams to pay bills. And that cycle is so normalized that when someone starts talking about passive income, systems, ownership, or automation, it sounds like a scam to them. Not because it is one, but because it challenges the only thing they've ever known. Let's make it practical. If you work a job, that's fine. But don't only work a job. Take some of that earned income and invest it in something that multiplies. Learn high income skills. Build something scalable. A product, a service, an audience, a brand. Turn your time-based effort into a result-based system. The goal isn't to hustle forever. It's to hustle strategically for a season so you can buy back your time for the rest of your life. And listen, I get it. When you've got bills, kids, debt, and pressure, the idea of doing anything other than trading time for money feels impossible. But the truth is, it's required. Because if you don't build something that pays you when you sleep, you'll work until you die. You have to plant seeds today that produce fruit tomorrow. Every wealthy person understands leverage. They don't just leverage money. They leverage time, people, systems, technology, and knowledge. They don't ask, how can I work more hours? They ask, how can I multiply the hours I already give? That's the shift that breaks the broke cycle. If you're not where you want to be financially, look at your income model. Does it require your physical presence every day? Then it's time to rethink the model. Freedom doesn't come from more hours, it comes from smarter systems. It comes from building something once that pays you over and over again. So the next time someone tells you to just work harder, ask yourself, are they rich? Because broke people love giving time for money advice. But if you want real wealth, you have to break free from that mindset. You don't get rich by selling your hours. You get rich by creating value that lives beyond your effort. Stop trading time for money. Start trading value for freedom. People often avoid painful financial conversations, not because they lack intelligence or awareness, but because confronting these issues can evoke deep-seated emotions such as shame, fear, and guilt. This avoidance isn't merely a financial misstep. It's a psychological defense mechanism that can perpetuate financial instability. One reason individuals steer clear of financial discussions is the emotional discomfort they anticipate. Discussing debts, budgeting, or financial goals can trigger feelings of inadequacy or failure, especially if past financial decisions have led to unfavorable outcomes. This emotional response is rooted in the association between money and self-worth. When financial status is perceived as a reflection of personal value, any shortcomings in this area can feel like personal failings, leading to avoidance as a coping strategy. Societal norms often discourage open conversations about money. Many cultures consider financial matters private or even taboo, reinforcing the idea that discussing money is inappropriate or shameful. This cultural backdrop can make it challenging for individuals to seek advice or share their financial concerns, further isolating them and exacerbating financial stress. The psychological concept known as the ostrich effect illustrates this behavior, where individuals avoid information that could cause psychological discomfort. In financial contexts, this might manifest as ignoring bank statements, avoiding budget planning, or delaying discussions about debt. While this avoidance might provide temporary relief, it often leads to worsening financial situations, creating a cycle that's hard to break. Additionally, fear of judgment plays a significant role. Individuals may worry about how others perceive their financial choices, leading them to conceal their financial realities. This concealment can prevent them from accessing support systems or resources that could assist in improving their financial health. To overcome this avoidance, it's essential to recognize that financial challenges are common and not indicative of personal failure. Creating a non-judgmental environment where open discussions about money are encouraged can help individuals confront their financial realities. Financial education and counseling can also provide the tools and support needed to navigate these conversations effectively. By addressing the emotional barriers to financial discussions, individuals can take proactive steps toward financial stability. Open communication, education, and support are key components in breaking the cycle of avoidance and fostering a healthier relationship with money. Most people who stay broke aren't suffering from a lack of money, they're suffering from a lack of wisdom in how they use it. They don't invest, they consume. Over and over again, they trade long-term gain for short-term gratification. And they call it living, but what they're really doing is slowly digging a financial grave with every impulse decision and emotional purchase. Let's break this down. Consumption is the default mindset. You earn, you spend. You get a paycheck, and before the direct deposit even hits, your mind has already spent it on things that depreciate. New phone, streaming subscriptions, Uber Eats, weekend getaway. You rationalize it, oh, I work hard, I deserve this, it's only $50, 0 cents. But those small comforts are costing you your future, not because the purchases themselves are evil, but because the mindset behind them never shifts from use to grow. The wealthy think differently. They don't just look at what something costs, they look at what it returns. Every dollar is a seed. Broke people eat their seed. Wealthy people plant it. They invest in assets, real estate, stocks, businesses, skills, relationships, things that multiply value. Broke people invest in distractions. They chase dopamine hits, not dividends. And the most dangerous part, most of this happens subconsciously. People are on autopilot. The moment they have a little extra money, they feel like it's burning a hole in their pocket. Treat yourself becomes a mantra, and delayed gratification is seen as suffering, not strategy. They associate investing with risk and consumption with reward, when in reality, it's often the other way around. Because every time you delay building your financial foundation, the cost compounds. You're not just missing out on growth, you're building a lifestyle that can't support your goals. Let's talk about another kind of consumption, mental consumption. Broke people are often addicted to entertainment instead of education. They know every character on their favorite show, but can't explain the difference between an asset and a liability. They scroll endlessly, binge watch series, and spend hours in digital escape while the people building wealth are feeding their mind with new information, new strategies, new skill sets. So if you're consuming more content than you're creating, producing, or applying, that's a red flag. That's a broke habit. Identifies. Now, I know what some people will say, well, I don't have enough money to invest. False. If you have enough money to consume, you have enough money to invest. Just maybe not in the traditional sense. Investing doesn't always mean the stock market or real estate. Sometimes it means buying a $30 book that rewires your thinking. Sometimes it means taking a course to learn a high-value skill. Sometimes it means sacrificing the weekend trip to fund your business idea. The point is, investing is a mindset. And you don't wait until you have extra to start. You start where you are. You make room for it. People stay broke because they don't prioritize ownership. They rent their life, their home, their time, their skills, even their attention. Everything is leased out to someone else. And because of that, they never gain leverage. They're always the customer, never the creator. Always the user, never the owner. To escape this trap, you have to flip the script. Before you spend, ask, does this purchase increase in value or decrease? Is this moving me toward wealth or away from it? Is this an investment in my future or just a momentary indulgence? That level of self-awareness is the beginning of transformation. So let's stop pretending we don't know why we're broke. We do, we just haven't made the shift from consumption to investment, from feeding emotions to feeding legacy. The day you stop being a consumer first and start being an investor first is the day your life starts changing. The fifth reason people stay broke is that they surround themselves with the wrong people. People who normalize financial struggles, celebrate mediocrity, and secretly resent anyone trying to rise. Whether you realize it or not, your environment is either fueling your growth or feeding your limitations. And too many people are trying to build a wealthy life in a broke circle, wondering why it's not working. Because you can't grow in soil that doesn't support your roots. If your conversations are always about problems and never about solutions. If your friends laugh at the idea of investing. If the people closest to you spend their time gossiping, watching Netflix, and chasing weekend highs, then you're breathing broke air every single day, And over time, it suffocates your ambition. You start lowering your standards so you don't make others uncomfortable. You dull your hunger so you can fit in. You hold back your goals because you're afraid of being labeled too much or too obsessed. That's how people stay broke, not just financially, but mentally. Let's be clear. Energy is contagious. Habits are contagious. Mindsets are contagious. If you spend enough time around 5 broke, bitter, and passive people, you will become the 6th, even if you're smarter or more driven than all of them. Because proximity is power. And if your circle doesn't challenge you, it's caging you. That's not just a motivational line, that's a law. You can't rise while you're attached to anchors. Now, this isn't about looking down on people. It's not about cutting off everyone who's struggling. But there's a difference between someone who's broke and hungry versus someone who's broke and comfortable. One is on their way out. The other is building a permanent home in that struggle. And if you're serious about changing your financial future, you have to ask yourself, who around me is reinforcing the old patterns I'm trying to break? See, when you start growing, not everyone will clap. Some people will mock you. Some will guilt trip you. Some will disappear. That's normal. Growth exposes what people were really there for. Were they cheering for you, or were they just comfortable with the version of you that didn't challenge them? When you elevate your habits, your reading, your investments, your discipline, you become a mirror to their laziness. And not everyone wants to look in that mirror. So what do most people do? They shrink back. They silence themselves. They stay in environments that feel emotionally safe but financially toxic. And because of that, they never get exposed to bigger thinking, better strategies, or people who can open doors. Your environment is either teaching you how to survive or showing you how to thrive. Which one are you in? Now here's the truth. Sometimes your circle isn't just friends, it's family. And I get it. You can't always cut people off, but you can limit their influence. You can decide that you'll no longer take financial advice from people who aren't financially free. You can decide that even if you love them, they don't get to shape your vision. You don't need permission to change your life. But you do need courage to walk alone until the right people show up. Because the right people do exist, people who challenge you to grow, who talk about wealth like it's normal, who celebrate your wins and hold you accountable when you slack. You don't find those people by staying in the same room. You find them by moving toward the life you want, and eventually alignment replaces attachment. So if you're tired of being broke, audit your circle. Who are you listening to? Who are you learning from? Who are you becoming like? Because you can't build wealth with broke energy surrounding you. Change your circle, and you'll change your life. One of the most devastating reasons people stay broke is that they wait. They wait for the perfect time. They wait for the right opportunity. They wait to feel ready. But here's the harsh truth. Time doesn't wait for you. Opportunity doesn't wait for you. Wealth doesn't wait for you. Broke people often think they're playing it safe by waiting, but in reality, they're losing. Every single day they delay action, every hour they procrastinate, they are paying an invisible cost. It's the tax of inaction, and it's the most expensive tax you'll never see on paper. Waiting comes from fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of success even, because success brings responsibility. So what do people do? They get ready to get ready. They research, overthink, analyze, compare, but they never move. They get stuck in what's called analysis paralysis. And while they're stuck on step 1, someone else who knows half as much but takes bold action is already 10 steps ahead, making money, building momentum, and creating options. Let's call it what it is. Procrastination is a form of self-sabotage. It's a lie you tell yourself to feel better about doing nothing. You convince yourself that tomorrow will be a better time. You believe that one day you'll have more money, more time, more confidence, and then you'll start that business, make that investment, learn that skill, but one day turns into no day, and a decade passes while you're still watching others live the life you dreamed about. Wealth doesn't come to the most talented, it comes to the most decisive. The people who take action before they feel ready. The people who move even when it's messy. The ones who aren't waiting for permission or perfection. Every successful person you admire has something in common. They started when it didn't make sense. They launched when they were scared. They invested when it felt risky because they understood a simple truth. Momentum is more valuable than mastery. And let's talk about how expensive waiting really is. Say you want to invest, but you keep holding off because you're afraid the market will drop. While you wait, someone else invests and earns compound growth. Say you want to start a business, but you wait for the right time. Meanwhile, the market shifts, the trend fades, and your opportunity closes. Say you want to build a new skill, but you say you're too tired after work. 6 months pass, and now you're still tired, but also still stuck. In all these cases, the cost isn't just lost money, it's lost time. And time is the one currency you can never earn back. Waiting also keeps you broke mentally. Because every time you delay a move you know you should make, you reinforce the belief that you're not capable. You start to doubt yourself more. You question your instincts. You lose confidence. Action builds confidence. Waiting drains it. That's why some people look alive but feel dead inside. Because they've ignored their inner voice for so long, they don't even trust themselves anymore. And if you want to break the cycle of being broke, you need to stop waiting and start moving. Start small, start scared, start imperfect, but start. The path gets clearer when you walk it. The resources show up when you commit. The door is open when you knock. You don't need a perfect plan. You need courage. You need hunger. You need the urgency to realize that time is your most valuable asset, and every day you waste is one more day you could have been building wealth, freedom, and legacy. With urgency. So here's the challenge. Stop saying, I'll do it someday. Start saying, I'll do it today. Because wealthy people don't wait for the right moment. They create the moment. They understand that waiting keeps you broke, and action, even imperfect action, is what builds empires. Let's be honest. Staying broke isn't just about money. It's about mindset. It's about habits. It's about habits. It's about the decisions we keep making, the voices we keep listening to, and the truths we keep avoiding. Most people don't stay broke because they have to. They stay broke because they won't confront the reasons they are. They keep trading time for money, refusing to invest, avoiding tough financial conversations, consuming instead of creating, surrounding themselves with the wrong people, and waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. But here's the good news. Staying broke is a choice. And if it's a choice, that means you have the power to choose something different. Today, you can choose to shift your thinking. You can choose to start building instead of just working. You can choose to take responsibility for your future, even if no one around you understands it. You can choose to act now instead of waiting for someday. This isn't just about getting rich. It's about freedom, options, legacy. It's about breaking cycles so the next generation doesn't have to recover from what you refuse to confront. It's about stepping out of survival mode and into purpose, into ownership, into wealth, not just financially, but mentally and spiritually. So here's the final question. Are you done with broke thinking? Are you done letting fear make your financial decisions? Are you done watching your potential pass you by? Because once you decide, the game changes. You don't need more time, you need a decision. You don't need more approval, you need commitment. You don't need more comfort, you need courage. 7 reasons people stay broke, now exposed, no more excuses. It's your move.